Before we begin, I just want to pay a very heartfelt tribute to this man called Chadwick Boseman, our dear King Tchalla, the king of Wakanda. But I kind of feel that even after everything that has been done in this movie, both the first and the second one, that Africa still misunderstands this movie completely. And that's actually what we're going to talk about in this video. Before the dawn of Black Panther, we have always been bombarded by Marvel with a lot of superheroes. We have always known superheroes like Thor, Iron Man, Superman. Yeah, help me with them. Yeah. When you look at them, most of them are white.
Such a poser.
Giving the idea that these guys have the capabilities to actually save nations and cities, and even the world. Then Marvel actually did one of the greatest things that they have ever done for the African continent by giving them the movie. Should I say by giving us the movie, The Black Panther? But for some reason, I just feel like we have been stripped of the powers of the Black Panther over and over again, and that's actually why I'm making this video. First, the movie began on a very great note.
Baba,
Yes, my son.
tell me a story.
Which one?
The story of home.
Now, first of all, it began on a very great light to help us understand that we lack in a history. We don't even know our roots. We don't even know what we are. And that's why it began on a very simple, great note. Baba, tell us a story.
Millions of years ago, a meteorite made of vibranium, the strongest substance in the universe, struck the continent of Africa.
Now, forget the vibranium, forget the Wakanda. The whole point in this particular narrative is that Africa is blessed with so much. Yeah, I'm going to say it again. Africa is blessed. I mean, these guys understand, these people who write movies, Stanley, of blessed memory, they understand so well how great Africa is actually blessed. But it kind of feels that we Africans, we don't even understand how blessed we are. The idea is that we are so blessed. That's just the idea they are trying to pass across with this first line of it all. But
The tribes lived in constant war with each other.
over and over again, we have seen it in the African continent, how we lack this unity. Everything we see every now and then is how we keep on fighting ourselves. Now, it's not as if other European countries don't fight against themselves, but when things like this happen, you hear things like World War I, World War II, the Cold War. Now, what it means is that other countries actually fighting against other countries for kind of power or resources, right? But sadly speaking, and actually what this is actually pointing out is that in the African continent, we are fighting our own selves. Whether it's in Nigeria, whether it's in Rwanda, just name it. Most of African countries' are wars within the particular nations, are wars that we fight against ourselves. Why? Because we are blessed with so much resources that we constantly are fighting ourselves over the control of these resources. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense for me why it appears as if we Africans, we are still yet to understand this whole concept and idea of Wakanda. But anyways, just stay tuned, we continue.
Until a warrior shaman received a vision from the panther goddess Bust, who led him to the heart-shaped herb, a plant that granted him superhuman strength, speed, and instincts. The warrior became king and the first Black Panther, the protector of Wakanda.
Now, he became eventually the first Black Panther. But one thing we need to understand here is that he's not just the protector of his selfish interests. He's not just protecting his family or trying to. He's not just too greedy. He became the protector of Wakanda. In most African countries, we have tried military regimes, we have tried civilian rules. But all the visions that they claim that they have gotten from upon all these visions, they are still not the protectors of Africa. They are still not protecting the Wakanda that we have in the different countries in Africa. they are still protecting their own stomach, especially in my own dear country, Nigeria, that we are yet to have a Black Panther. But let's continue.
The Wakandans used vibranium to develop technology more advanced than any other nation. But as Wakanda thrived, the world around it descended further into chaos.
And that's actually one of the hardest part of this whole idea, that as Wakanda thrived, the world around it descended into chaos. The reality is that as the world around Wakanda, as the world around Africa and African countries thrives and becomes first world, developed world, Africa and everything that it holds inside of it continuously degenerates into chaos and wars. And man, sometimes I kind of wonder, why on earth was I born an African? Why on earth was I born in Nigeria? Because it just doesn't make any sense. This movie is telling us that we should be developing while the world is descending into chaos. But sadly enough, I think it's just the opposite that we are seeing in the African continent.
But the Jabari tribe isolated themselves in the mountains.
We became just like the Jabari tribes who do not believe, just like Lord Mbaku, who do not believe that our science and technology should be handled by a kid.
We have watched and listened from the mountains. We have watched with disgust as your technological advancements have been overseen by a child.
I mean, that's why a lot of people believe that the people in the political, whatever that we call it, are the same old people that have been governing and running it for decades and selling us this whole idea of superstitions.
Who scoffs at tradition? We will not have it. So we will not have it. Oh.
But yet we continuously degenerate into chaos. Unfortunately, once again, with all the vibranium that we have, with all the natural resources that we have, with all the superstitious ideas that we have governing this country, governing Africa and governing our minds, instead of introducing science and technology to our vibranium, we just leave them as superstitions. We just leave them as beliefs that we keep on telling and selling this whole superstitious ideas to our children and our generation.
To keep vibranium safe, the Wakandans vowed to hide in plain sight, keeping the truth of their power from the outside world.
And we still hide, Baba?
I think I'm kind of confused right now, because are we in hiding? Is Wakanda in hiding? Is Africa in hiding? Is Nigeria hiding? No. I think we actually know the extent of the powers that we have, but we are just confused. So we are not just Wakanda in this state because we have failed Wakanda so woefully. But all is not lost. And just like our dear King Tchalla, we do not need a white panther that does not understand our terrain to save us. What we need is a Black Panther that understands even the crannies and nooks and crannies of the Sambisa forest to save our dear citizens. But I just don't get it, why we keep on looking for outside help to solve the problems that we clearly understand.
The Wakandans used vibranium to develop technology more advanced than any other nation.
And one of the great things that the Black Panther actually taught us, that is supposed to teach us to understand, is that even with all the vibranium powers, even with all the superstitions that we have, the introduction of science and technology into it can change it a lot. Like, that's actually what we need. For instance, we have a lot of superstitions in this country. God, I just don't understand where they came out from. All we know is that we grew up and we heard the same story over and over again. And believe me, you don't dare question such stories. For instance, if you go to some churches, we pray against witchcraft covens. Yeah, we pray against people summoning us in their witchcraft mirrors. I just don't get it. It may be true, it may be a lie, but come on. How dare you question a pastor when he raises such a prayer point on the altar of God? We are so superstitious that we took that idea hook, line, and sinker, and the only thing that we resorted to was praying against people who are summoning us in their spiritual mirrors. But come to think of it, our dear white panthers, they probably also had the same idea of summoning people in front of their mirrors, right? But guess what? They brought science and technology into the same idea. That's probably why I'm talking to my camera right now. Yeah, that's why I'm talking to my camera, because I know probably I will summon myself in front of you. And I mean, the whole idea of video conferencing, the whole idea of Zoom meetings, the whole idea of this video calling and all of these things, it's hinged on the same idea of summoning someone in front of you, even though the person is not physically there with you. But just because we have hailed, just like the Jabari tribe, to infuse science and technology into the things that we have, into our vibe. Come on, vibranium has a lot of power that even these people, that even the white people kind of thinks of the resources that we have to be magic.
Bullet wounds don't just magically heal overnight.
They do here, but not by magic, by technology.
But until we wake up like our dear Princess Shuri and remind these people that we do these things here, not by magic, but by science and technology, things will continuously get worse. Gosh, I actually feel like screaming right now. We need to go back to and rewatch that movie, The Black Panther, over and over again, because we missed the whole point. And another great lesson that that movie actually taught is that the truth of the matter is that the whites, they did a lot of heinous and bad and evil things against the blacks, against the African continent during the colonial period. Yeah, that's just the simple truth. That's the reality that they found themselves in historically. But even with all the things that they did, I mean, they divided. It took them the Berlin Conference to actually divide and rule Africa within their midst, just like a box of pizza. I mean, I kind of probably feel that they were like, well, I think I should be going for that particular continent. No, 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 no. I need to have that. Yeah. I mean, these guys divided us like a box of pizza, and they ate us all. They plundered us, natural resources, human resources. They took a lot. But guess what? The reality, and they also understand that even with all the plundering, even with all the colonization, it's just a scratch of the kind of and the level of vibranium that we have.
That's a nice fairy tale, but Wakanda is a third world country, and you stole all their vibranium.
I stole all of it. I took a tiny piece of it. They have a mountain full of it. They've been mining it for thousands of years.
Everything that they did back then is just a kind of scratch on the amount of vibranium that we have. But the worst part of it is that most African countries, most Nigerians, most African citizens have taken the other route of actually fighting and becoming the evil that they are crying against. And come on, our King Tchalla does not like that.
You want to see us become just like the people you hate so much.
Divide and conquer the land as they did.
I learned from my enemies. Beat them at their own game.
You have become them. You will destroy the world, Wakanda included.
This is what Killmonger actually stands for, and which is actually what a lot of Africans have resorted to, becoming the same evil that they kind of fought against, becoming the same evil that they complain bitterly about. That's why so many people have resorted to scamming white people. I mean, if you ask a lot of people who are into the scamming industry, they would actually tell you that they are doing nothing wrong, but they are just recovering the same things that were stolen from us, just like our dear beloved brother Killmonger. And probably one of the most important things about this movie, The Black Panther, is from the second part of this movie. I mean, the world holds us, Africans, in a very high awe and respect and dignity. But the thing is that, and the irony of all these things is that they would not tell us, they wouldn't tell you that they revere and respect you. I mean, that's why they would make this comment.
With all due respect, King Tchalla, what can a nation of farmers have to offer the rest of the world?
And the worst of it all is that a lot of Africans actually take that kind of comment and attitude, hook, line, and sinker. And you believe, and we believe that we are a third world, that we are a world of farmers, and we have nothing to offer the world, and we live our lives like that. That's why I mean, it's kind of crazy to me when I hear people tell me that Nigeria, that Africa has nothing to offer to the world, that a black man cannot advise a white man. I mean, I've heard this over and over again, and I kind of feel like smacking the heck out of those people.
Oh, wow! Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
The whole essence of the movie, The Black Panther, for me, yeah, before you say I'm kind of speaking for everybody, for me is that we don't need a Thor. We don't need an Iron Man. We don't, oh, yeah, Captain America, you're so great, but newsflash, we don't need a Captain America to save Africa. What Africa needs to save Africa is Africa. What Africa needs to save Africa and to bring to life and fullness the potentials of the vibraniums that we have, whether it is natural vibranium or human vibranium, is a Black Panther. And I mean, I just hope that one day we'll have that boldness to scream and cross our hearts and say, Wakanda forever. But I want you then, P for peace. And by the way, please subscribe to this channel, like this video, click on the notification bell so you're not to miss out on any of these videos when I upload them. Have any thoughts on this? Do let me know in the comment section. Yeah, once again, Wakanda forever.